people are revisiting the very famous Kanye and Taylor Swift beef. Kanye perhaps saving the life of Taylor Swift, who was young, dumb, and did not know that she needed to thank Beyonce, accepting an award that perhaps should have gone to Beyonce.
I'm really happy for you. I'm gonna let you finish. But Beyonce had one of the best videos of all time.
Again, guys, I'm happy to believe any of it. You know,
We might need to stop talking about this.
What about the flight crew?
South Korean smugglers. They run flights into Pyongyang below radar the whole way. Did you think of an alibi?
Oh, yes.
what's up, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome back to episode 14 of the Alibi Pod.
The Alibi Podcast.
We're here once again for the 14th time.
Yes, we are.
And we've got a lot to talk about.
We have a lot to talk about.
First and foremost, I think it's a tradition around here. We got to talk about the BeReal Updates as they happen. You can take a video now.
Yeah. We all look like boomers in the selfie view.
It's kind of, yeah, it's just like, I'm not a huge fan. I just kind of duck out of frame when I use it. I've used it like twice. Not my favorite, honestly. BeReal is just, I guess, Snapchat now. I don't know. But
it's just every other social media platform.
It's yeah, it's losing its zhuzh, I guess. But yeah, we talked about that. What else? You have a fun story.
I went to Las Vegas.
You went to Vegas.
I went to Las Vegas.
That's right.
I enjoyed my time in Las Vegas.
That's good.
For anyone wondering, I was not there to gamble.
Aww.
I was there for food.
Went to Vegas for the donuts.
If you're on TikTok, you've probably seen it because it's very viral. There's a donut shop in Las Vegas called Saint Honore. My wife saw it and she wanted to go. They actually call it Couture Donuts, is what they call it.
Couture?
Donut couture. Like we talked about. Yes.
Wow.
They consider themselves pioneers of this new genre of donut.
So it's basically a bougie version of the same kind of donuts we had in Portland.
Yeah.
It's voodoo all over again.
It's like Voodoo Donut or even Hearts Donuts, I'm not going to lie. But it was definitely better than both of those.
I mean, you can't pioneer donuts too much.
It's a very unique selection for sure.
There's only so much you can pile on top of a donut and call it new.
That's true, but it feels very gourmet as opposed to some of the others feeling very just like they put anything on a donut. It feels very intentional. That said, we went there. We flew all the way to Vegas to visit it because my wife wanted to, and she loved it, and I thought it was great. My favorite was the Boston cream. Mm-hmm. We went, and there was a huge line at the building.
Of course there was.
And this is like, 11:30 on a Sunday. So yeah, it was worth the trip, she said.
Fair enough.
I had fun while I was there. We were there for a couple days, walked up and down the strip. We went to a couple of delightful restaurants. We went to Nobu Sushi, ate hundreds of dollars worth of sushi and prime A5 Wagyu.
Yeah.
Nobu Sushi is one of those very, very fancy, very gourmet restaurants. Sometimes they'll catch fish, clean it, load it up on a plane, fly it to Las Vegas, and you'll eat it all within like 24 hours. Yeah. Like they have this formula to get you fresh sushi no matter where you are.
That's pretty cool.
And there's a reason it is a very premier sushi restaurant. We also went to a French cafe called Mon Ami Gabi with a view right on the strip. Interestingly, there's a Grand Prix coming up in Las Vegas, so they're building stands throughout the whole city. Very cool. And then we went to another steakhouse. I had American Wagyu, which I will say Japanese Wagyu is significantly superior to American Wagyu.
Got to step up your game, America.
And that is my quick recap of my trip to Las Vegas. We had a lot of fun. I'm a big fan of this particular trip, although I would not say I'm a big fan of Las Vegas. I don't know if I'll be going back that much. If you're not interested in gambling, there is a limit on what you can do in Las Vegas.
Yeah, Vegas is really there for the gambling.
Yeah, there's museums, there's shows, there's fun stuff to do, but the formula for your day in Las Vegas is built around the presupposition that you will gamble while you're there.
Yeah.
And for me, not spending any time whatsoever gambling, not so much.
Yeah. Yeah. That's how it goes sometimes.
Yeah.
I have a little interesting story.
Okay.
Sort of. You remember the Nicocado situation?
Nicocado avocado.
Nicocado avocado lost a bunch of weight. The internet freaked out, and he was like 2 steps ahead. Have you kept up with that situation?
No, I just remember it being like a scam or something.
A scam or something. Sure.
You want to give us some context on...
So, overall, for those who don't know, Nicocado avocado was the king of mukbang, is what they call it. He ate massive amounts of food on camera, and he gained a massive amount of weight. At his peak, he was like 400 pounds. He was huge and very fat and unhealthy, I think, was the image. And then recently, he posted a video. He said he was 2 steps ahead. He had lost all the weight secretly, didn't tell the internet about it, and now he's skinny, and he said it was all a big social experiment. Now, like a few days ago, just even more recently, he posted that video and then like went quiet for like a month, and now he posted a series of videos on his channels where he explained the whole thing. He said, and this is all according to him, it was in fact just a social experiment. He gained all the weight on purpose. He left little hints throughout his YouTube career that he was planning to gain a massive amount of weight. He wanted to hit 400 pounds, and he said when he hits 30, he was going to lose it all. Planned the whole time. He said he's a fan of the theater. His favorite performances are when the actor physically transforms for the role.
This guy's got to love Joaquin Phoenix.
Yes, and like Christian Bale, and like just the crazy transformations. And so he intentionally, per him, he intentionally gained 400 pounds, and he built up all this backlog of videos and then decided to lose weight, didn't tell the internet, and then just kept kind of drip feeding some videos of him still super heavy while he lost all that weight, got down to like 150.
Wow.
And came out and he's like, well, this was a whole 8-year plan. This was my show. I love theater. I love Broadway. This was my Broadway. I had a steady job for 8 years putting on the performance of a lifetime, and it was crazy in my opinion.
That's pretty wild.
If that kind of commitment, just to like actually do that for 8 years and to get that crazy, and the character that he was for all of that, like the way he talks now in his videos are completely different from the way he was in the mukbang videos when he was huge. Like, it's just unbelievable.
Are we sure it's the same person?
I'm pretty sure.
It seems like it, at least.
Everybody, it seems to be the same person. I think I believe him.
How long do you think before Dylan Mulvaney does the same thing?
Dylan Mulvaney, I don't know about that one. I thought, he thought maybe Dylan Mulvaney would do the same thing, but at this point, with the amount of like drugs,
the election cycle would have been the perfect time to do it.
Yeah, but with the amount of drugs that bro has taken and the way Dylan has changed, like physically, you can tell there's probably no going back. This one's probably that was probably real, but crazy work from Nicocado. Amazing commitment to the bit on that one.
Facts.
Anyway, speaking of actors though and commitment to the bit.
Yep.
I kind of told you a little bit about this. I was watching Wonder Woman, right?
Okay.
And Wonder Woman,
the original,
the
Wonder
first
Woman
one,
with
yes,
Gal
Gadot and Chris Pine.
Chris Pine.
It's a good movie, right?
Yep.
It's pretty solid.
Significantly superior to not only the sequel, but also the majority of the DCEU up until that time.
Yeah, for sure. But I was watching it again, and I was thinking, wow, Gal Gadot is not that good of an actress. She just did not sell it for me in a lot of things. And this script, this story, all of it is very dramatic, over the top, like high stakes, crazy. You gotta sell this story.
It's the theatrics of it.
It's very theatrical, very dramatic. And honestly, I was watching some of her like monologue or dialogue at the end with like the climax of the movie,
right?
And I was like, this is just so flat. She's just so flat as an actress, you know? And I was like, wow, does this movie just suck? Is this the DC curse? And then I thought about it some more, and I realized Chris Pine sold it. He
It's
was
true.
his lines. He was just as wild and out there.
He
as
kind of
hers.
carried the movie.
But he actually his performance made it make sense.
Yeah.
And I think that for most of the movie, she was able to be kind of flat and awkward because she was this out of place character in the world. And
Right.
it worked because she wasn't from this world. And Chris Pine obviously did a whole great job throughout all that,
Mm-hmm.
But then at the end, when she's finally supposed to be coming into all of her power and stuff, she was still seemed flat and out of place and
Awkward.
awkward. And that's kind of an energy that she almost maintains somewhat. It's not quite as bad in the second movie, but she sort of maintains that energy. And I don't know, maybe it's pretty privileged that she's able to get away
Right.
with that because she's drop dead gorgeous. But it was just interesting to me to see the difference between Chris Pine's acting and Gal Gadot's kind of mid performance,
Yeah. Keeping the vein of superhero movies.
Yeah.
And remembering that last week we did a Marvel episode.
Yeah.
Our youngest brother, Tim,
Mm-hmm.
he suggested to me prior to the filming of the Marvel episode that we should rank Marvel movies, which we kind of did.
Yeah.
But after watching the episode, he told me that we abysmally failed to rank Spider-Man movies.
Yeah. Okay.
So today I think we should take it upon ourselves to rank Spider-Man actors and potentially the Spider-Man films that were the best Spider-Man
Rank the
films.
3 Spider-Man actors who's the best.
Well, which films are the best?
Okay. I think I have some pretty controversial beliefs
All
in
right.
this specific.
Let's hear them.
I like Tom Holland. I like Tom Holland Spider-Man.
You like
the
Tom
way-
Holland, the actor. You think Tom Holland is the best Spider-Man.
He's the best Spider-Man for me. He really is.
And do you also believe that Tom Holland's Spider-Man movies are the best Spider-Man movies?
I think I do. And I'll tell you why. First of all, and I understand that Tom Holland's Spider-Man movies do not fit into true to comic Spider-Man quite as well, maybe, right?
Sure.
The villains are mostly not super Spider-Man-y villains. They are obviously, but they feel more MCU.
Right.
They feel more, but I think that makes them feel more grounded. The Spider-Man villains, and obviously they all show up in the third one, which is cool, but the Spider-Man villains in the Tobey Maguire or Andrew Garfield Spider-Man movies just feel so much more over the top and very comic-y, very almost tacky in a way.
They're from the comic book.
They're very comic-y. And the Tom Holland Spider-Man movies, the villains, although they are still Spider-Man villains from the comics, they feel more authentic. They feel more believable. Maybe it's the presentation. Maybe it's the way the MCU just does a really great job of making villains come across as believable, and also technologically speaking and
in
stuff.
the earlier eras of the MCU.
Right, yeah. It just doesn't seem so fantastical. Which I get it, that's a thing about Spider-Man, but I prefer a more down-to-earth kind of Spider-Man, which is ironic because he's the only one that went to space. But,
My favorite Spider-Man story is The Amazing Spider-Man 2
yeah.
with Andrew Garfield and Emma Stone, and also I think Dane DeHaan as Green Goblin was actually one of the best Green Goblin performances. I actually think
That was such a weird Green Goblin.
I think it sold it a little bit better than Willem Dafoe.
No.
Particularly in the original Spider-Man Tobey Maguire movies, Willem Dafoe's performance was, it was good, but it was just a little too far out there. Now, in the new movie, where Willem Dafoe reprises his character, that's really good. That was really,
definitely
really
peak,
well done. And for that reason, also, that might have to take it as the best Spider-Man movie.
It could be. I think that something both the Andrew Garfield and the Tobey Maguire Spider-Man movies kind of do for me is they feel very 2000s-y.
They are.
I know they are, and it's an era of filmmaking that kind of just, it doesn't feel smooth to me. It doesn't feel cohesive.
It might be recency bias.
It might be recency bias, but I feel like objectively, film has progressed.
Yeah.
And I think that you can kind of see that in the Spider-Man movies. Like, I think the Tom Holland Spider-Man movies feel nicer. They go down smoother. It's just a easier on the eyes kind of situation compared to the previous Spider-Man. And now I might be making a fool out of myself here, but I think that it's just something about the performances, the colors, the direction of it. Like the Andrew Garfield was too dark and Tobey Maguire was too bright.
Yeah.
It was just, Tom Holland, I think, hit it just right. That's just
It's
my
a very
opinion.
clean film trilogy, for sure.
Yeah. And I do also really enjoy the whole connection with Spider-Man and Tony Stark and all of that.
Yeah, that was
Spider-Man
beautiful.
as an adventure. I thought that was nice.
Yeah, he was great in Civil War, too. I also really liked Far From Home. I thought it was a great movie. I think that perhaps if we're giving a #1 slot for best Spider-Man movie, we might have to give it to Spider-Man No Way Home.
Probably.
Where we see all three Spider-Men
just
on
for
screen
that.
together.
And all their villains.
And all the best of the villains.
Reprising their roles and stuff. It was, yeah.
And that's where we're going to land on that for today.
Yeah, we gotta wrap that up. For sure.
I have a fun fact for you.
What's that?
Let's see if you can guess. How long ago was 1 million seconds?
1 million seconds? How long do I have to guess? Because you do the math here.
No,
like,
do it. No, off the top of the head.
Oh, just off the top of the head. 1 million seconds ago. 1,000 years.
It was about 10 days ago.
I was way off.
Yeah.
It's because I didn't get to think about it.
Yeah, all right, so
I don't do math in my head that
1 million
fast.
seconds ago was 10 days ago. A little over
Okay.
a week ago, all right? For comparison, how long ago was 1 billion seconds?
That one's probably like 100 years ago.
1 billion seconds ago, Kurt Cobain was the king of the rock and roll scene.
So it's not
1
100
billion
years
seconds ago is approximately 1990 something.
So I was just way overshot every time.
Yes.
I have no idea how long a second is, guys. And I have no idea how big a million or a billion is. You can't ask me questions like that. You just trying to make me look stupid. I don't know. I don't do math, guys. I'm a barber.
What I think is wild, though, is the sheer difference between a million and a billion. How much?
Well, I mean, you
it
always
is.
see those like with money or something, or
Right.
with like pennies stacked up next to each other, or on top of each other, or whatever. Like, how much is a million versus a billion? How far could you go? But yeah,
It's
that's
pretty wild.
interesting. I think that one's not the most impressive one.
It blew my mind when I saw it this week.
I mean, it kind of is. I guess 10 days ago versus 50 years ago.
It's not 50 years. It's like 25, 30.
You said the 90s. Yeah, that's
Yeah,
30
it's like
years
30
ago.
years ago.
Yeah, I was thinking of the 70s, not the 90s.
Clearly.
Again, math. Anyway.
What do you think about Beyonce?
First of all, I'd like to thank Beyonce. I don't know what for. Just for, I guess, somebody had to marry Jay-Z, you know, that ugly dude, and she stepped up, so thank you for that. I never listened to her music. I don't think I could name a Beyonce song.
Just want to thank Beyonce. It has been observed that at award shows, people always thank Beyonce.
Yeah.
And it's not really clear why, because sometimes people thank Beyonce in situations where Beyonce seemed to have nothing to do with any of it. And TikTok, with its conspiracy fueled mind,
Eye for the conspiracies.
eye for the conspiracy theories, has determined that this is some Illuminati stuff going on.
There is definitely some Illuminati stuff. Oh, yeah.
With the recent unfortunate passing of Liam Payne.
Went the
who
wrong
was
direction.
went the wrong direction. Who was staying at a hotel that Beyonce was also staying at. And apparently must not have thanked Beyonce for something.
Major sauce.
Major sus. And now people are revisiting the very famous Kanye and Taylor Swift beef. Kanye perhaps saving the life of Taylor Swift, who was young, dumb, and did not know that she needed to thank Beyonce, accepting an award that perhaps should have gone to Beyonce. Kanye, thinking only of the young woman's health, jumped up on stage to thank Beyonce for her. And he was made the bad guy.
And he made her famous, apparently, too.
And he made her famous, as he said.
So, first of all, let me preface this with I love a conspiracy as much as the next person.
Right.
I love a good conspiracy. I want to believe them all, you know? Maybe not all of them, but I would absolutely believe this stuff, you know? Sure, there's an Illuminati. I'm ready, you know? Show me the evidence and I'll be happy to believe there's an Illuminati. I'm sure there's evidence. Don't come at me, but anyway, I don't feel super strongly or feel that it needs to affect my life, but this is also very likely just like a funny thing that happens. Because imagine how easy would it be for us, imagine we're with our friends and we're having some sort of group and we're going around and sharing, and then one person mentions oh, I want to thank Beyonce. Next thing you know, literally everyone is thanking Beyonce just because it's an inside joke now. You know what I'm saying?
Maybe.
It could be that kind of thing. It's like when you're going around, you're it's too easy for callbacks, you know?
People be dying, though.
People be dying. People always be dying.
And people be flying to Epstein Island. And people be visiting Diddy parties.
Did you see the video about every time Beyonce goes on a tour, somebody dies?
No.
Yeah, there's this video. Wow. I saw this on either TikTok or Instagram. Saw it on the internet. Every time Beyonce announces her world tour or whatever tour, shortly after a major pop star dies, right before Michael Jackson died, she announced a tour.
What?
There were a couple others. There was some R&B artists. There were some other pretty big
Okay, but the
names,
Michael
too.
Jackson connection is wild because we know Jay-Z and Beyonce were close with Diddy, and they found tunnels under Diddy's house that led to Michael Jackson's old house.
Did they really?
They did.
That's weird. Again, guys, I'm happy to believe any of it. You know,
We might need to stop talking about this.
This has been redacted for your safety.
Okay, so I have a question for you.
Yes, sir.
So you know how Elon showed off his Tesla bots?
The Oculus bots?
Right.
Yes.
And they were drones. They were not operating on their own intelligence. They
Some
were being
people think that hasn't been
operated.
confirmed.
Yeah, it has.
Okay. All right.
It has been confirmed.
Okay.
Yeah, no, people were operating them.
Okay.
They look like the iRobot movie robots or whatever.
Exactly like the iRobot
Which is kind of
robots.
sus, but everybody's
Also,
like...
the new Tesla van looks exactly like the vehicles from
That's
iRobot.
true, which that's
What-
kind of dumb.
Elon saw
way
this
to
movie.
scare people, bro.
Elon saw this movie and said, "I like that. I'm gonna make that."
Yeah,
joint."
why are you not trying to comfort people with your robotics technology and AI? You should be trying to be like, hey, this is not like
the movies?
The Matrix.
What
you
if
know?
it's actually Chris Rock is in on it and it's all a revenge plan to get back at Will Smith for the slap
That's ridiculous.
because he
No
was
way.
in iRobot?
Yeah, whatever. Anyway, the point is, people
we're
are
gonna
really scared of
create it in real
AI and robots, right?
It's true.
Imagine the Oculus robots take over or whatever, right?
Scary.
What happens if AI gets too smart?
Pretty sure there's a movie about that.
There's several. People are freaked out, though. And here's my thing. It wasn't... Well, actually, at the same time, even, as these conversations are had, people are like, what if some terrorist set off an EMP and destroyed the power grid? We would be screwed. So my question is, these seem like...
Opposing viewpoints.
yeah, you can't have both. If we're so scared of the AI and so scared of the EMP...
We're scared of both AI and lack of AI.
You can destroy... If the robots attack, it feels like we can just do the EMP ourselves and be
Yeah,
fine.
if it's
If it's so easy to absolutely destroy all technology, then why are we so scared of robots and AI? This stuff can be gone, apparently.
You pose a reasonable argument to those people,
Yeah.
but I'm afraid it's not that easy.
Yeah, I'm sure it's
I'm
not.
sure it's not hard at all for an AI. If it became sentient, it would be for them to take over control. And
Why?
Like,
I don't believe
create backups. It's got to be so easy to create backups.
Create backups.
Also,
maybe.
upload themselves to a cloud, like satellite-based, something that can... but also, they can stop us from destroying the power grid.
Maybe. I don't know. I'm not that scared of.
If they're self-writing
like that.
code...
Maybe. I have a feeling that we will never be able to create something so genuinely independent and creative. Right. So the idea...
We don't have to, though.
What do you mean?
It just has to be able to self-write code and solve problems. Like, it doesn't have to feel anything to do that.
Yes, but I don't know. I have a feeling that... I don't know. I feel like there's a limit to what we as humans can create. This is from a religious perspective.
Sure.
I feel like there has to be a point where God is like, I'm not going to let you do this. He's stepped in before. There have been several times when humans got too big for their britches, and he was like, all right, stop. You know?
Right.
And I have my doubts that it will ever get to the point where we create something that is so creative, independent, and powerful that it can lord over us in a tangible way. Like, I think we can idolize things and make them lord over us. I don't think we can create something and accidentally it'll lord over us.
Thinking about it from an eschatological viewpoint, though.
Yeah.
What about a human harnessing the power of AI? Because we know AI with human assistance can accomplish almost anything.
Yes.
So
That's much scarier to me.
yeah,
I don't think it's going to get out of control. I just think that it will be bad enough under our control.
yeah.
That's kind of where I'm at with it. But, you know, that's whatever. You know, I'm not much of a doomsday guy. Anyway.
I love a
maybe.
good conspiracy theory, though.
Speaking of theories,
Yes, sir.
I'd like to share my Kendrick theory.
Your Kendrick theory.
Can I share my Kendrick theory on the pod?
Do we need to give the full context of Kendrick and Drake?
Well, there will be some. Let's add some context.
Just a little bit. All
For
right.
those who don't know, right? Kendrick Lamar, massive top 3 or 4 biggest rappers in the world.
Correct.
At this point, possibly number 1.
At least
Drake.
in popularity.
Yes. Drake, also massive. Same scale as Kendrick, probably bigger. Has been historically bigger. Massive rapper. They got into a little squabble, little internet squabble. They got into some internet beef. Started with, calling each other out over songs, and then ended up, having some full-on diss tracks. Traded diss tracks over the course of about a month or so. They went back and forth, some really personal attacks, some
Really, really
Very
heavy, weighty allegations.
weighty
in some of these
allegations of redacted and lots of other bad stuff. But my theory is, now well, probably we should also provide the context of the internet has mostly sided with Kendrick.
songs. Yes.
The internet has decided that Drake is, this awful person and he's just bad, and Kendrick is great. Kendrick is morally superior. Kendrick
It
is...
became very much a question of morality.
And it's both morality, and Kendrick did that. That was a Kendrick move. Kendrick brought all of that into the beef with his diss tracks. And Kendrick is the kind of artist that is considered very intellectual. Mm-hmm. His stuff is deep. He has won awards as a writer. To fully understand a Kendrick record, like, there's a lot of layers to it. And so it's become like a very intellectually astute kind of thing to be a Kendrick fan. Like, you feel smart if you understand
They're
Kendrick.
all so self-righteous.
They very much are. Kind of pretentious too, but here's my theory. Kendrick and Drake traded diss tracks, made a bunch of accusations. My theory is none of it was true. It's pretty
None of
much just 98% just made up fluff.
To sell records?
Maybe just to sell records. I don't think that Drake probably wouldn't have agreed to that. You know, if it was just to sell records, like if
He
they
doesn't need
agreed
to sell
it
more
before.
records.
I mean, maybe, but like, what are you gonna do to Drake for him to be like, yeah, sure, you can destroy my public image? Because
Right.
the fans very much are making fun of Drake at this point, and maybe he really is way above it. Like, Yachty says that he doesn't care about anything, and that could be true, but I don't know. Anyway, the point is, most of the accusations just weren't true on either side. There's been no evidence of either.
Sure.
Nobody has stood on business and backed up what they're claimed. Nobody has provided receipts on either side. It's just all made up for all we know. But the internet decided Kendrick won. And my theory is that it's all made up, and Kendrick is just better at spinning a story and making himself look like a good guy and the other guy look like a bad guy. And he already had this image of being very intellectually superior. So now he's also morally superior, and he already had all of this conscious rap where he was meant to be like a moral kind of guy. And Drake is easy to make fun of. He's Drake, you know? So my idea is that it's all made up, but Kendrick fans are happy to believe that Kendrick is morally and intellectually superior, and Drake is just this horrible person because Kendrick fans are all stupid. Pretty much. And just willing to believe whatever he tells them. They're just eating up made up claims.
The idea that maybe something like this is completely manufactured too, like with the knowledge that we have of how much like labels and like people behind the scenes, the globalists even,
Right.
are able to affect different things and, you know, curate what's popular, gatekeep what's making moves. Like we know for a fact that Kendrick was buying YouTube views initially to get some of that momentum going.
Of course. Yeah, and that's how you get a #1 record. You gotta buy streams and stuff, and you get to that point, and that's probably why Not Like Us was so big, because there were some streams purchased.
Oh, I'm sure.
I imagine that. I mean, that's what Russ told us about #1 records. You got to get it over the hump somehow.
Yeah, you got to pay for streams to get over the
And
hump,
obviously, it
reach
was a
#1.
giant buzz, a giant moment. But I
And
would not
only
be
did
surprised.
it draw attention to Kendrick and Drake, it drew attention to all of rap music in a time when rap music was potentially on the
Right.
decline.
And I think
everyone
also
was talking about it.
I think also this, we have to point out, this is with the added context of J. Cole's thoughts on his Port Antonio song.
Yeah.
Where he said that it was, he basically called it cap. He said they were looking for views and stuff, sort of, like, is basically what he meant.
Also, the songs purposefully name dropped record labels, Interscope, which was mentioned multiple times.
Yeah.
And that clip went viral, the Interscope part.
Yeah.
So a lot of people are talking about Interscope. Huge name recognition. Good or bad, nobody cares.
Right.
Right? Also, Kendrick and Drake both went on to sell out venues from
Right.
this. Immediate
There
ticket
is a
sales,
lot of money.
immediate payoff.
There is a lot of money in it. So it could be manufactured by Drake and Kendrick, could be sort of manufactured without Drake's consent by the labels. I
I'm
don't know.
sure that Drake can make a comeback, though. Drake
I'm
is
sure he
one
can.
album away from public favor again.
He is, and you're always, no matter what you do, you're a hit record away from being the people's darling once again. But I think he won't make his comeback until after Kendrick Lamar drops his record.
Also, I have a theory, and
What's
I'm not
that?
going to waste too much time because we're almost out of time for
Yep,
today.
we're pretty much done. Tell me your
But-
theory.
Is it possible that this record, this beef happened as an attempt to distract us all from the Diddy allegations?
It's possible. I don't think so, though.
It ended up not working because
Yeah,
more stuff
it is.
came out after.
It's just, yeah,
But
the Diddy stuff is
the
too
story
big.
was out at that point and nobody was talking about
It's
it.
true. I do think that it's possible that people are trying to distract us from the Diddy stuff, but I do also believe that this Diddy thing is going to be so big that you can't escape it.
It destroys so much of Hollywood.
It might not happen,
People
but I
are
really
leaving the
hope.
country. So many people are leaving the country.
I know, like Leo DiCaprio and Diddy and everybody. Really,
George
but
Clooney.
I really hope that this moment in time that we're living in right now can be a catalyst of change in this country for the better. Like, I hope
Yeah.
that Hollywood does get blown up at the roots like this. I hope this Diddy situation gets massive and can't be contained and everyone is outed. I hope that all the dirty mayors like in New York get exposed. I hope the politicians get rooted out. I hope we can find whatever the deep state or permanent Washington or whoever is pushing us in the wrong direction. I hope it all comes out. And I think this could be that moment. But we'll see.
All the conspiracy theorists are about to look a lot less crazy.
This is the conspiracy theory episode, guys.
Well, no, we're going to keep talking about conspiracy theories.
This is one of them. All right, guys. We'll see you next week.
See you next week.